Today I'm going to walk you through the top 10 most insane puzzles chess has ever recorded. And these puzzles are mind-bending, jaw-dropping, and they will definitely blow your mind. So if you want, you can pause the video and try and find out the brilliance that humans uncooked at their very best. This puzzle we are looking at starts from a bishop sacrifice, and unknown to Black, Black just walked into a huge trap by accepting this sacrifice. Now, this looks like a normal position, but you must take note that this queen has limited squares and this king is restricted at the back rank. So as a result of this, white played this saucy move, knight to d6. Now, this move looks like a normal move, but believe me, this is brilliance at its peak. First of all, threatens to fork the king and the queen. Now, Black sees this move and notice that Black cannot come back with his queen here as this loses the queen. Black cannot also go here as G is just a free queen. Black cannot also go here because this still hangs the queen. If you look at this position carefully, you will notice that the only available square that seems safe is the Black queen coming here. And even this square is not safe enough as yet again White uncocks this brilliant rook sacrifice. He sacrificed the rook. And notice that he cannot take this rook because this is still a fork. So at his very best, he pushes his pawn and White can still go ahead and capture it because if he still takes, it's still a fork. And you can see that this puzzle is already mind-blowing. So he captures the pawn and he pushes yet another pawn. And White still captures it because he can't take, this is still a fork. And Black pushes yet another pawn. And this is very mind-blowing and very exciting because White can still capture the pawn. Black can't capture it because this is still a fork. And after White captures the pawn, Black is left with no other option but to capture the rook and go fall in for the fork. Now some will say, White can go here. My dear, the moment White goes here, it can still give him a fork and win the queen. How amazing is this puzzle? I personally would name this puzzle sorcery because Black in this position executed his plans like a god. I'm not kidding, like a god. In this position, Black entered a god level mode and promoted his pawn, and not to a queen but to a knight. See, after he gives a check to the king, there is only one square the king can go to. The moment the king goes to this square, you proceed by giving him a check with your rook. This king has two options. The first option is to come here with his king, and obviously the moment he does this, this is mate. Now the second option, come here with the king, attacking the rook. Now in this position, Black saw the threat and decided to give up his rook. How brilliant is that? Knowing that the moment he gives up his rook, he can push his pawn and White has only one square to go to. And the moment White goes to that square, he can now jump in with his knight, give a check, and White has only one square to survive. And the moment White does that, you check White on h6. How brilliant is this? White has a queen, has bishop, and the king just still gets checkmated. How amazing is this? Now moving over to the next on our list, we have this pretty popular but amazing and mind-blowing puzzle. And you can see that this position is charged with combinational motifs. The placement of the rooks, the queen, the pawn one square away from promoting. And in this particular position, White entered a god level mode and uncocked this brilliant rook sacrifice. I'm not kidding, this sacrifice is fire. And if you think that this sacrifice is the best you are going to see in this particular puzzle, you are just getting started. Because the moment the rook accepted the sacrifice, here comes yet another sacrifice. And the moment the king accepts the sacrifice, you promote not to queen but a knight, hitting the king and the queen. Whew, how beautiful and brilliant is this? Going back, one will say, is it compulsory Black will accept the second sacrifice? My dear, Accept it or not, black is cooked. Because the moment the king comes here, you can promote to a rook or even a queen. And when the king moves away, you can capture, and instead of being a knight up, you are now a rook up, which is even better. Now, I know that these poses are amazing and mind-blowing, so please leave a like, share, and comment as a way of supporting me as a content creator. See, in this position, white moved his knight to this particular square, and black is not going to take it easy on white. Black uncocked this brilliance with a rook sacrifice. Now, note that this king cannot go back because the bishop on g7 blocks that square. Now, white has only one option, and one option indeed is to capture the rook with the pawn. And the moment this is done, you can still swing in, give a check. And in this position, white refused to sacrifice his queen, stopping the mating net, and he rather moved his king. Drop in the comment section how you can mate white from here. Now, if you think you have seen it all, wait till you see this pause, because this pause is way up the chart. Like, it is so mind-blowing that I cannot help but show you guys. Now, in this position, it is clear that white is winning. But then there are still resistance that black can put up to stop white from winning. Black proceeded to capture white's only pawn, making this game a dead draw with accurate play, at least according to beginners. White uncocked this brilliant king move. And believe it or not, this bishop is cooked. As the bishop moves on to only one safe square, and the king further sees the bishop, and this bishop is lost no matter where you move it to. Take for instance, you move the bishop to this square, you can move down here, give a check to the king, and the moment the king moves, you pick up the bishop, and you can definitely win. If the bishop still moves down here, you can still give a check to the king, pick up the bishop, and this move continues on and on and on. Black played this, and you can still give a check to the king and pick up the bishop. Like, it's so simple. If I have blown your mind so far, please like, share, and subscribe. This helps me to bring up highly insane puzzles like this to entertain, educate, and motivate you. Here, white is on a check, white side steps, and then follows up and checks the king. Regardless of the square, black will swing over his rook, give a check to the king, and the queen must block, and you take. It's important to pay attention to details. Notice that this second check to the king was very specific and strategized, because most people will make this particular move, giving a check to the king, and this doesn't work any longer, as once you give a check, the king now has an escape route. Now, for this puzzle, I will advise you to hold your jaw, because your jaw will literally drop if you don't hold it properly. Now, in this position, black played this, aiming to promote his pawns, and it seems to him that he has an advantage. But no, the battle is not yet over, as white gave a check to the king, and the king has two options. Either you move back and allow white to capture, and say goodbye to your hopes of promoting your double pawns, or you hang on to your pawn and push it later, of which black chose the second option. And white moved forward with his king. Now, black actually fell for this trap, as black thought that he is actually promoting a pawn. White jumped in with his knights. Black promoted the pawn, but this didn't help. This was all to no avail, as white delivered a sweet checkmate. Have you ever been checkmated when you have a queen on the board? Tell me in the comment section. Now here, if black decides to promote with this pawn, it still makes no difference, because black is still getting checkmated one way or the other. Please like, share, and subscribe. I love you.